Hi, grade 8s. So I'm going to go over your fractions test. I'm not going to go over all of the questions because some of them were done really well. It was just you're making very specific to you mistakes. Once we return to in-person, I will hand back these tests so you can go over them in a little bit more detail. So for example, all these 1-2 questions done fairly well. The 3-4s, again, done fairly well. I do want to go over the Carpenter question. There's a few different ways kids were solving it. I think the easiest way is to set up a general equation. So if I have in total 16.5 feet of material, I'm taking off 5 pieces, each that are 3¼ feet long. So that would be my general equation to see how much is left. So from here, if I go to solve this, first step is to convert my 3¼ to improper, so that's going to be 13/4. If you didn't know what 5 times 13 is, you always can figure that out. 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 1 is 5, carry that 1, so I get to add that, so I get 65. So from here, you could convert your 16 to common denominator. Personally, I would have converted the 65/4 to a reduced fraction. I made it mixed and then subtracted. The majority of you converted the 16, though, to improper. So that's what I'm going to go through. So 16 times 2 is 32, plus 1 is 33. Common denominator here is 4. So I'm timesing both of them by 2, so I get 66. Leaving me with 1/4 of a foot of a piece of wood. So we barely had enough wood to finish this. This question done fairly well. Okay, let's sort here. I was actually really impressed by how well you guys did on this one. So 2/3 of the land on a farm is using for cattle. The rest of the land is used to grow crops. So if 2/3 is used up, that means I have 1/3 left. 1/4 of the land used for crops is used to grow corn. So I need 1/4 of 1/3. I have taught you of means multiplication. So we get 1/12 of the land is used for corn. Not bad. Done fairly well. Okay, this next question. Let's go through this in detail. This is order of operations, this is algebra and fractions. So this is a lot in one question. First step, let's convert everything to improper. So 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 I get 7 over 6w. 4 plus 1 is 5 fourths equals 2/3. My first step in algebra is to always cancel out that constant, so I'm going to subtract 5/4 from both sides. Those will cancel. So I get 7 over 6w is equal to, I need to do this, so let's use a common denominator of 12. 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 3 and 5 times 3, so then I get 15. So I'm going to get a negative here, that's okay. 8 minus 15 gives us a negative 7/12. There's a few different ways you could approach this next piece. I'm going to divide by 7/6. The reason why I'm dividing is currently there's a sneaky multiplication right there. So to do the opposite operation, I have to divide. So those two cancels out, leaving me with w. In order to divide fractions, I multiply by my reciprocal. Handy, my 7's cancels out, leaving me with -6. Don't forget that negative. A lot of you did. This reduces then to a half. -1/2 is our final answer here. If I went a little faster there, you can go back in this recording, re-listen to it, or press pause right now and try and work through what I did here as well. Simplify. This next question done fairly well again, so I will go through this, but for the most part I was happy with these results. I'm going to start off by converting to improper, so I get 21. Dealt with this guy. Now I'm going to multiply by my reciprocal and then just rewrite my next piece. Now I'm going to do my rearrangey trick. I cannot rearrange the 1/2 because it's separated by subtraction. My rearrangey trick only works for multiplication. So I'm going to move my 20 over the 20. That's nice. -3, and then 21 over here. Same 3 numbers are across the top as were before. 20 over 20 is equal to 1. 3 over 9 reduces to -1/3. 21 over 7 reduces to 3 over 1. My 3's cancel out, leaving me with a -1. A lot of mistakes were made here. -1 minus 1/2 gives us overall -1 and 1/2. A lot of you forgot that this is a -1. A lot of you were just doing 1 minus 1/2. Big difference there. Okay, our level 7-8 questions. This first one was quite a shocker, I think, to many of you. There are 1 4/9 times as many white notes as black notes on a keyboard. 88 notes altogether. So I've told you, treat it sentence by sentence. So let's look at this first sentence. I think it's always good to kind of pause and think, there's more white notes than black notes. So let's put this as an equation. So 1 4 over 9 is the same thing as 13 over 9. So what that means is if I go 13 over 9 times my black notes, I'm going to get my white notes. Because there's going to be more white notes. And like in our investigation said, if I multiply by an improper fraction, my number is going to get bigger, just like here. Second sentence tells me the black-white notes plus my white notes is going to equal 88. Now I need to figure out what B and W stand for. Well, I already know that W is equivalent to this. So instead of writing W over here, I'm going to write 13 over 9B. And then I'm just going to rewrite my other B. So literally, I replaced this with that. 13 over 9B was equal to W, so I plugged it in. Now I have an equation that only has one variable. Nice. So now I need to solve this. This B hanging out here is just one solo B. I could say 1B, or I could say 9 over 9. The reason I say that is now I can combine those two numbers. So this is like combining like terms. So 13 plus 9 gives me 22 over 9 equal 22 over 9b equals 88. So from here, we're doing algebra again. So I'm going to divide both sides by 22 over 9, divide by 22 over 9. I have now isolated b, so I have 88 multiplied by my reciprocal. I'm going to do my little rearrangey trick here, because if I move my 88 to be over 22, I can reduce that. 88 divided by 22 is just 4. 4 times 9 gives us 36. I know I have 36 white notes. I can figure, 36 black notes. I can figure out how many whites by doing subtraction. 8 minus 6 is 2. 8 minus 3 is 52. So I have 52 white notes. There are a few different ways to do this. If you did it differently and still got 36 over 52, that's awesome. The only reason where I actually didn't give credit here is if you just used trial and error and found two numbers that added to 88 and you didn't show me that you knew that 36 times 13 over 9 equals 52. If you showed me that, then I would give it to you. But if I can't see enough reasoning, I can't give this one to you. That's coming back to our IB rubrics, as they say I have to see appropriate mathematics. And if I can't see it, it doesn't count. Overall, very hard question. I really like that one, though. Okay, this last one, again, a fabulous question, a lot of struggles. I would write it out as you're reading this one. So we're multiplying a fraction, so an unknown, so let's call it x. I'm going to times x by -1/2. Then I add 3 over quarters. then divide. So it's like all of this is being divided by a quarter. When I do that, I get 3 3/4. I'm going to change that to be improper right away. So that's 12 plus 3, I get 15 over 4. So from here, this question actually shouldn't be too challenging. We're just working backwards. So I have to first cancel out that division because that's the last thing we did before. So I'm going to now multiply by 1 over 4 because multiplication is the opposite of division. So then I get 15 over 16, rewriting my left side. So now I have to subtract 3/4 from both sides to cancel out those two. So x times -1/2. I have 15 over 16. I need a common denominator, so I'm going to multiply by 4. (15 minus 12 gives me 3 over 16. So now I have to get rid of that last step of multiplication. So now I'm actually going to divide by -1/2. Divide by -1/2. So then x is going to be equal to 3 over 16 multiplied by my reciprocal. Don't forget that negative. So then I get 6 over -16. You have to always reduce. Both of those are divisible by 2, so I get -3/8. You can put your negative sign out front, or with the 3, or with the 8. All of those equally correct. So now that we've gone through your test questions, if you have any follow-up questions, you can just ask me next class about them, or shoot me an email. From here, the next thing you're going to do, or the first thing you're going to do, is you're going to finish those IXL links from the square roots. So you need to reach a score of 70 on G.11, G12, G13, and G14. That you should be able to finish by the end of today's class easily. Once you're done that, you're going to go to Desmos. So you're going to go to student.desmos.com. And then you're going to enter in a code, and I'm going to look that up for you in just a second. So the code you're going to enter is 6KQ space ES6. Here's just the visual that kind of goes with Desmos. So you're going to go to student.desmos.com, enter in this code. So remember, so for the rest of the class, what you're doing is you're first finishing those IXL square roots from our last day. Then you're going to go do Desmos. I can see everything you say and do there. So try your hardest. We're going to take it up next class. If you finish that, you can try any of the enrichment questions under the problem solving tab. I've also posted December's problem of the month. So you can work on those as well for the rest of class, or take a little break and have a bigger stretch between classes. I look forward to seeing you on Monday.